Dark Knights of Steel, issue 11, Tom Taylor and Yasmin Putri on the art. This is, Clark and Bruce bonding. This is the Bruce of this world finally kind of like saying, hey, maybe all these like metas that I've locked up in the jail cells shouldn't be down here. Although it did lead to a good little laugh where I think it's Harley who jumps in and says, yes, but the actual criminals who have murdered people will not be getting released. And then you just see Calendar Man be like, ah.
Yeah.
I thought that was quite funny. But
it is.
I think, Joe, I liked about this issue. My favorite thing about this issue, and it's probably one of my favorite things about this entire book, which I've been a little bit more lukewarm
I'm really
on.
intrigued to see what you're going to say now, because I have no idea where you're going.
Right?
Unless, can I make one guess?
Make
with
a
one
guess.
word. Alfred.
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that was. I thought maybe you were going with that.
Well, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, but we've pulled on the Alfred strings a lot in various different ways recently, so it's not sticking
I mean,
out.
Tom Taylor's done it a lot. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and it means more Nightwing though, because it's the actual Alfred as opposed to.
Yeah, I mean, he even did it in the first Deceased book quite a bit.
So, no, my favorite thing about this, and this is like sort of a standalone thing, separate from like the overall story or continuity that I really like, is just a storytelling thing. I love rules, I love mechanics, and I love trying to think about how to use those rules.
You do, yeah.
The characters in this issue, they know that the White Martians can't handle fire. So the entire defense is based around, okay, how can we use that? So they build a moat of fire. They get a lot of wood and burn it, so they've got fire surrounding the castle at all times. It felt like, to me, that part of a movie where the characters are using their brains and they're like, okay, this is their one weakness and this is what we can do to like keep them away. But of course, there's always that threat of, can we keep all this burning forever? Probably not.
I love this concept in that it's one, like you say, it's physically impossible to sustain it forever.
Yes.
And two, it doesn't solve the problem. It buys them time.
Yes, it buys them, like, I guess the best I can compare it to is in Aliens, where they get the turrets up and they've got that little safe area for, like, the middle chunk of the movie. It buys them time to think. It buys them time to, okay, what do we do when the threat really gets here? But I don't know. I love this type of thing. I love using mechanics and mechanics you've set up. So this for me,
it's using mechanics that we're familiar with because Martians.
Yeah.
Not exclusive to this book, but then using it in a specific way that is suitable for this setting.
Yeah, and I think, I've been up and down a little bit in the book because, the premise doesn't sing to me quite as much, but this part of it, like, works regardless of, like, what the setting is. It's just about, okay, the characters have been faced with this problem, here's how they can tackle it, and I don't know, I was enjoying this in the way that I would enjoy a story like that in a movie in this issue, in a way that, most of the book, and this goes for a lot of comics sometimes, especially when Tom Taylor is, like, juggling all these, like, cool different takes on, like, this grand mythology with 100 different characters. But a lot of the time, it can feel like throughout this and throughout Deceased even, where you've got, oh, this is how he's remixing this character, or this is how he's remixing this idea. This felt like this wasn't about remixing anything. This was just using the things that have been established to tell a compelling part of the story. And I really enjoyed that. I felt like I wasn't just like, oh, we're revealing who this person really is this issue.
It wasn't a new take on something like that. It was new take in the sense of, okay, it's setting appropriate by using, a moat and, just burning wood, right? As opposed to anything high tech. But it's very much just fire, right? That's always been the one thing.
Also, Lara forging a Phantom Zone projector I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was a little bit different.
I got a kick out of that because I'm like, what's she building? She's welding something. What's she building?
A weapon. I'm like, oh, okay.
This is like, oh, this will send them to a prison. And I'm like, oh, it's a Phantom Zone projector. Very nice, very nice. So yeah, no, and obviously the twist that Amanda Waller was working with the White Martians all along, like, is the most unsurprising.
It's peak Waller,
and I don't mean that in a complaining way. Like, it's natural that she has been doing this because she wants. It's like she's made a deal for the L's to still rule because she wants her side to, like, win, and she's going to do it at any cost. And she doesn't know how to deal with the fact that now the L's are like, no, we're going to work with the Amazons, and we're going to work with the Mages or whatever they're calling the Black Lightning.
This is not not even like a different take or like revealing. This is just Waller doing Waller things. Waller is the same in every time period in every universe.
Yeah, it just happens to be instead of the US, she's working for the L royal family.
Yeah.
So,
but ultimately, somehow, it's all about her own goals because it always is.
Naturally, yes. So, yeah, I actually quite like this issue. It's probably one of my favorites of the whole thing because of that. Just because I really enjoyed the mechanics of them dealing with the story in it, and it sets up as well. The White Martians have got this big meteor or kryptonite that they're going to use to hopefully kill the Kryptonians. So,
and then you've got a really nice heart-to-heart with Bruce and Alfred. Obviously, is now, we know as Martian Manhunter, and he's like, hey, he's the Green Man. But ultimately, he comes to, well, hey, it doesn't matter. You were still Alfred all those years.
Yeah,
that bond's still there, and Manhunter didn't expect that. Like he was expecting, like, hey, you're gonna hate me. I get it.
Yeah. Also,
it's the same with Clark at the start as well. I mean, like, hey, now we actually are brothers. It's fine. Like, there's a lot of the normal expectation of just everyone being angry and upset at each other is kind of subverted.
Yeah, and another thing that's very Amanda Waller is that when she goes to meet the White Martians at the end and one comes up kind of threatening to her, she has effectively what's her version of the bomb in the neck in this timeline, where she sort of sets him on fire with like a defense mechanism and he just burns and he basically dusts like a vampire. So I like mechanics, I like rules, I like setting up the weakness for your monster and then the heroes using that in a strategic way. I like strategy, damn it.
I like in this world of works, obviously you're less keen in general on magic, and what Waller's done here is essentially just magic, deal with the devil. But it's still just all about, it's fire, right? It's like you hurt me, you get fire.
Yeah.
And it's still all right, it's maybe a little hand wavy as I made a deal. But I mean, is it any more hand wavy? Just you got a bomb in your neck, deal with it.
Yeah, no, it feels thematically similar enough that it makes sense for Waller to be using it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So no, and obviously Putri's art
continues to be great.
Yeah, Putri's art's obviously very solid, very detailed art, I would say.
Yep, that's why this book has been so inconsistent, I assume, in its release schedule.
It's been wildly inconsistent. That should have finished like 8 months ago.
As much as it's definitely hurt the pace of the book month to month, I still do think it was the right choice long term, because this is going to make a very nice hardcover.
Oh yeah, I mean I get it, but it's that thing where there was a period in the middle there where I was like every time we got a new issue, I was like, what the hell even happened the last time? Because it's been like 3 months, It's
not been as bad the last couple issues.
Yeah. Anyway, what are you rating Dark Knights of Steel issue 11?
I'm going to give it an 8. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'll agree with the 8, I think, on this. It was good stuff.